Hi, dearest young billionaire. How are you? So come closer. How's it been? What have you picked from the last two chapters we have read? Hope you've started saving. Okay, no. Hope you've started earning. That means you've started a job for those that don't have a job. Because I know what we picked from chapter 2 was okay, you work, you earn, you save, and you invest. Okay, so today we will be delving into chapter 3 of the book, The Richest Man in Babylon. If this is your first time of coming across this video, we have been reviewing the book, The Richest Man in Babylon, to gain some financial insight on how to become rich and also journey towards wealth creation. So, chapter 3, we have the title of chapter 3 is 7 Cures for a Lean Purse. Do you know what a lean purse is? When your purse is not fat, it's small, it means there is no money inside.
It's off! It's off.
So, what is the cure? What are the cures for fattening your purse, fattening your wallet, fattening your bank account? That's what we'll be learning today. So, let's go into it. Chapter 3, 7 Cures for a Lean Purse. So, this is the quote I have for this chapter. It takes a great desire for wealth to start out on the journey of wealth creation. For you to journey on wealth creation, for you to travel the road of wealth creation, you need a great desire to be wealthy. So that's the quote. Now, let's go through the road to wealth. That's the process. Here is my note. Said, number 1, keep 10% of your earnings to yourself. Don't spend it, save it. Remember in chapter 2, we saw Algamish dishing out financial principles to Akkad. That is, work, earn, save, invest. And I told you, as the other chapters pan out, we will be delving into details. Now, the question will be, how much should you save from your earnings? Doesn't mean you should carry all your earnings and go and put and stay hungry and go and save in the bank or somewhere else and stay hungry. No is the answer. There is a portion of your earnings that you should save, at least 10%. It can't be more. So at least 10%, you know how you give your tithe, 10% of your tithe, of your earnings to God, then pay yourself also 10%, at least 10% to yourself for savings. Then the second one is you can never satisfy all your desires. For every income you make, there is a corresponding expense to swallow it up. So limit your expenses. And let's say you were earning 100,000 as a young person. You were staying within 100,000. Everything you're doing was within 100,000. The moment you increase your earnings to 200,000, you will see that you will have more bills to pay. It's natural. So as you're making money, there are expenses. So now you need to discipline yourself. What should I spend on? What shouldn't I spend on? You can't meet all your needs. You can't satisfy all your needs. So when you make money, please save at least 10% of what you earn. The next process is invest the accumulated 10% savings out of your income. Everyone desires and deserves an ever-flowing income, irrespective of daily work. So when you've accumulated the 10%, depending on how long you want to accumulate, it's time to get an investment that savings can get. Truth be told, every savings you have accumulated can get you an investment that will keep paying you. You don't just know what investment. I will share that later in other videos. Then the fourth one is, before you make any investment, carry out a proper due diligence to confirm the genuineness of the investment, and likewise the ability of the company to pay back your principal first and also deliver on the promised returns. So before you put in your investment, please ask questions. Do your due diligence. Don't just hear about an investment and because you heard me saying invest, you just go ahead and put in your money. Please make sure you carry out, do your due diligence. Who is offering you the investment? What is the investment about? If there is something you don't understand, please ask the right people. And another thing is, When you've saved and you've invested, own an asset. That's the long-term goal as a young person. Own an asset. Determine to own a land, a house, whichever you can afford first. Invest in real estate. Because with assets, there is something called capital appreciation. Aside the interest you make every year, or depending on what you're investing in, there is the part of capital appreciation. Assets will always appreciate. So that's it with real estate. So even beyond you, you're actually leaving a legacy. Beyond you, those properties stay and they continue to pay you in the times when you can no longer work. So as a young person, it's good to make wealth. It's good to be rich fast. It's good to be rich as a young person, and you start your wealth creation journey, so that that moment where you cannot work anymore, you will never be poor. You will not be young all your life. As you wake up, as you age, as every year comes and you celebrate your birthday, you are getting older and strength is waning. There are things you can do now that you will no longer be able to do in 5, 10 years. So this is the best time to be rich and to build wealth. So get assets, invest in real estate. My sixth note says, make future plans for the days you can no longer work actively to earn income. These are the mistakes our parents made. They thought they will always be strong. It's not like our parents didn't make money, but there was nothing. They didn't put it into things to sustain it. They didn't think about sustainability. They only made money for the present and they left out the future. And when the future came, they didn't have the strength to sustain the future. So it is the money you make today and how you maximize the money you make today that will determine what your future will be like. We still have 6 more chapters to review. See you on the next one.